Well, welcome to Qdabra's weekly webinar. This is Patrick Halstead, and today I'm introducing Prachi Singh, who is a new hire here at Qdabra. She just graduated with a master's degree at University of Washington. She'll be doing the demo in a moment, and we're really happy to have Prachi on our team. She's been working not only as our support lead, but also to help customers implement simple solutions with InfoPath and Sharepoint. And we will switch to Prachi's mic in a second. First of all, what are we talking about today? These are simple 15 to 20 minute webinars we do every week. And today it's summer in Seattle, and that means people are taking vacation this week and next. And we've talked about the leave request form before. We've demoed it before. It gets a lot of attention from some of our customers. Everyone has vacation, right? So everyone wants to take time off, and they want to manage that time, and they want to create a business process in SharePoint. So we're going to be, this is the first of a 3 or maybe it's a 4-part series on simple solutions in SharePoint. And we're going to show you how to do it with SharePoint. And basically what the solution entails are the following. There's a custom list, there's a library form, and there's some workflow. So the custom list allows you to track the people, and the library form allows you to actually submit the request, and then we have workflow that does the email notifications. So what I'd like to do is quickly, we're going to switch to Prachi's machine. She's going to do the demo in a second here, but let's do a quick poll, and actually let's see how many people are in your organization. And let's see, hopefully you can see this, and we're getting some feedback. Thank you very much. And basically we're looking to see, I want to make a few comments about size of organization, and this solution. This solution is targeting the small and medium organization, but not to say you couldn't implement the same solution for a larger one. If your team, and really we're talking about team size here, but I just want to get an idea of the organization. So it looks like there's a few people, 5% of you have 1 to 10, 20% are in the 11 to 100 range, and about half of you are in the medium-sized business, 101 to 1,000. The rest are in the enterprise. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, so basically, before I switch to Prachi for the demo, this solution can be used for small organizations. So if you are in a larger enterprise, like let's say we have a lot of customers out there, including Microsoft. So if we're doing work for Microsoft, we would deploy this solution for a team within Microsoft. And the reason is because you're tracking people using a list. So you don't want that list to be more than about 1,000 items, 1,000 people. We talked about large lists a couple weeks ago. So that's the only real restriction here. So we're going to go to the demo next. In fact, we're going to be switching back and forth in terms of our screens. I'm going to switch to Prachi. Prachi, are you there? How you doing?
Doing good, Patrick. Thanks. If you make me the presenter, I'll do the demo now.
What's it like working at Qdabra?
It's awesome. Really enjoying it here and learning a lot. Thanks to you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is my first webinar, and I'll be demoing the leave request form. So I've already deployed a simple leave request form to our Office 365 site, and I'm logged in with my credentials. So if I want to submit a leave request, I'll just click on here, and this will open up my leave request form. So like you can see, whoever is the user, whoever is logged in with their credentials, their information gets automatically uploaded to the form. So like you can see, there's my name, my email address, my manager's name, his email address, and the HR name and email address. Also, the hours that I've used so far also gets updated, and the remaining balance that I have for the request. So if I suppose give a start date of 12 August and the end date of 17th August, so the total hours are 24, and the PTO hours used are also 24. So as you can see, my balance is just for 12 hours, so I cannot take a leave for so long. And then this message pops up warning message that this request exceeds the amount of available PTO time. So I have to again change my end date, suppose the next day. And then there's just 8 hours of total absence, which is acceptable. So I'll give some reason, PTO day, personal time, and I'll click on this submit button. So as you can see, my form has been submitted, and you can see the form status is submitted. My remaining balance is still 12, and the hours used is still 48 because the form has not been approved. What it will do is, after I submit a form, the workflow will send an email to my manager for the approval. So he may approve or reject my form. So I'm sure Patrick would have got an email by now.
Would you like me to show you what I got?
Yeah, sure.
And here we go. So here's my email. Let me share my screen.
I
think you might have to make me presenter.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. So just got this email from our HR. You can see we were testing this earlier this morning. And if I click on the email, the nice thing, one of the nice features about this solution, which is very simple to deploy, we'll be giving you a package with everything you need to deploy it, including a document describing how to walk through it, is we've added these approve and request buttons. You may have seen that we added we've been adding a little bit to the solution over the years, and I think Bree might have demoed these buttons in a previous webinar. But if I click on approve here, I could be on my smartphone, I could be on the web. It'll automatically approve it as part of the click, so I don't have to do anything more. Once I click on the link, it's going to navigate me to the site, show that it's approved, and then I can close the form. And you can see here now it's approved, and I'll close the form and switch back to Prachi. There you go, Prachi.
Thanks, Patrick. So as you can see over here, now my remaining balance in hours used have changed. So it's added 8 hours
we don't
to my
see your
hours
screen yet, so maybe you need to share out.
Oh, you can?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, now I see it.
Now you see it? Okay. Okay. So as you can see, the remaining balance and the hours used have updated. And if I open my form, it will show me that my leave was approved. And on the form, it will show the updated hours now. So if I go back, we've been doing some testing. So the way it works is that we have imported a team info Excel sheet where we have all the employee data, the full name, username, email address, PTO hours used, balance, job title, manager name, manager email. So you need to import this Excel sheet to your Sharepoint site where you have deployed your leave request form. And when you open a form, it gets the data from the team info form, and it loads your form once you open a new document with your remaining balance and the PTO hours to be used. And once you've submitted a form, then we have workflow on SharePoint Designer. So you need to install SharePoint Designer 2013 if you want to work it with the Office 365. And it's a simple workflow where there are 3 conditions: that if a current the form status is equals to submitted, then send this email to the manager. As you just saw that Patrick received this email, and you can just click on approve request or reject request, or you can also click here to open up the form and see all the other details that the employee has filled in. And similarly, there's another condition for if the form status is equal to approved. And here both of us, the submitter as well as the manager, will get this email, and they'll know that their leave request has been approved, and they can open the form from there. And similarly for the rejected one. So what we do is we publish this workflow to the SharePoint site where our leave request form is deployed. And after the submission, when the form status over here, like you saw, where is it? Oh, I have to scroll it there. So the form status over here, once it shows submitted, then the workflow will generate the submission emails to the manager and the submitter, and once the manager approves or rejects, they'll get different emails for the approval or rejected ones. So this is a simple workflow of how the leave request form works. You can also modify and update the form as per your organization, adding a logo or having a different format of the form. But this is what we have so far. And I think Patrick will talk more about the data connections and the other fields and how the form actually works and the rules that we're using to deploy this form. So I'll switch back to Patrick now.
Yeah, and we want to thank you very much, Prachi. Great job. Yes, we had a quick question there from Marlon Harry. Thank you, Marlon, for being the first one. If you have questions, this is a great time to ask them. We'll take them in the order we get them. Very simple form, and like I said, we're really focusing on these simple solutions over the next few weeks since you're on vacation, right? Might as well. But we do get a lot of interest in these templates, and we probably ought to spend more time on it. Marlon's question is, can this also work the list form? It's a great question. And to answer your question, Marlon, the form is a library form, so it's currently configured to work with the form library. The question is, well, what is it in the form that is specific to a form library? And there's only a few things. I'm going to share out my screen here if I can remember how to do this. And there we go. Thank you, Prachi. And show you this form. And Prachi's been working on this form. I've been working on. We had one bug. I don't know if people saw that, but we had that error message showing up when she reopened it. So you know it's a live demo. But to answer Marlon's question, the form has a bunch of data connections. One of them is we're using this extension library, which we call QRules. And the QRules extension library is being used. Is that true or not? Maybe that is not true. Are we not using that? Prachi, I'm just wondering here if I'm in the right screen here. Okay, excuse me. Wrong form. So here's the correct form. And you can see here that we have the form with the policy, and you can change the policy just by typing in your policy. You can never take vacation, only if you're abducted by aliens, whatever you want to call your policy. And then down below here is where we have the form. And like we said, we're going to be sending this to you, so you don't have to worry about creating this yourself, but you can look at how we did it. But what I wanted to show to answer Marlon's question was we have this extension library built in called Qdabra rules, QRules. It's a data connection here. And we have a few commands that we're using that are not out of box. They're extensions, right? And to find out which commands they are, we can select the command and rule inspector, and you can see here that we're updating that list. So in order to update the available hours, we have to update that Sharepoint list. That's something that QRules does. We're also, when they click on the link in the workflow, the second rule, trigger approval, is firing, and that's getting an input parameter. So it actually sees on load if they opened it from a link and the key was approval. I don't know if you can see that, but that's another cool feature, and we're using that to automatically approve it. And then we have two date diff calculations. So the date diff calculation correctly calculates the difference between two dates and excludes the weekends. In this case, we're only using component weekdays. We could also exclude official company holidays. So those are the three commands that we're using in this solution that would not work in a list form, Marlon. I hope that answers your question. A bit of an involved answer. Sorry about the length of that, but let's take a look at the other questions then. Chris has got a question. Chris is, thank you, Chris. I'm using a similar solution. I would like to add the ability to have the approved request auto-update a Sharepoint group calendar. Yeah, this is really easy to do because you can use the list as your group calendar. So what you want to do is you want to have a separate list that is time off. You could actually even use the library where the form is deployed, and you could create a library view on this, and then you could have that view on your home page. And how would you do that? Well, you go to library, and you would actually go in and create a new view, and you'd call that calendar. So when you create a new view, we can modify the view. We can create a view, and this will give you the option of actually creating a view that's a calendar view. And if you see the second option there. So that's what you want to do, Chris, is you want to create a new view on the library that is your calendar view, and then you want to put that on your main web page. So you don't want to necessarily navigate people to the library. You just want to show them, the time off people are taking. We've actually done that on our site. If I go to my home, we have on our main home page, let's see if I can get back to our main home page here. Of course it wants me to log in. But we do this with our leave request form, and it's nice. We're such a small team here, just 15 people, but we, on our main home page, if I can get back, that's not where I want to go, you'll see that we have the calendar displaying the time off on the main home page. So what you would do is you would just add a web part then to this calendar. You can see that Prachi is actually taking tomorrow off. So it's very easy to do that. Great question. Thank you, Chris, for that. And I think I answered it. I hope I answered it. I didn't quite read it all, but let me know if I didn't. And then the next question we have is, let's see here. Let me just get back to a screen. I'm going to switch to the form again. Okay, here we go. Let's see. And Prachi, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you're good.
Okay. Just feel free to jump in at any moment. We get a lot of questions here. So Chris, and if you could type these in, Prachi, I think I'll just talk to them verbally, and then one of us can type in if the other person is talking.
Okay.
Thank you. And then, and I can't pronounce your name correctly, but View Din has a question, and different employee accrued PTO at different rates, right? So what you would want to do in that case, and we have the same situation here, is that you want to have a workflow that runs on your employee list monthly. So with SharePoint 2013, you can have these recurring workflows, and you can then have a rule in your workflow that conditions it based on the length of time the employee has been with you or whatever you want to do. And you can add a number to that available balance every month. And or you could do it manually. Because in our case we only have 15 people, so it's easy for the HR person to go in and just bump up the numbers manually. Now, obviously when you do that, there's no record of it if you're just manually editing it. So this solution is a bit simplistic in that regard. Ideally what you'd want is a separate form that the HR person would use to apply the weekly PTO increase, right? And then you've got a record of that application. And it would be a simple form on top of the list that the HR person would open up, and then they would put in hours for everyone, hit a button, that form then would update the available hours using the same technique that this form uses, which is that submit to SharePoint list technique. And we've talked about the technique of updating lists many times before. Shane's got a comment. Thank you, Shane. Prachi has done a fantastic job. I agree. Fantastic demo, and we look forward to helping you install this solution as well. If you fill out the survey, it's free. We'll even help you. So we're actually trying to get this out into our web store for people so we can pay and recoup some of the cost of these webinars. So another question from Chris. If I recall correctly, you guys have the ability to account for weekends and exclude them. Exactly. So what we'd want to do here is QRules command has the ability to do that. So we have a rule here. If we look at our form, let's take a look at the dates. So when they enter an end date, we have a rule that actually calculates the difference in the dates using this QRules command, right? Date diff, date 1, date 2, start date, and then this is only calculating with weekdays. To exclude holidays or company holidays or official days of record, what you would do is you would use another parameter, and the QRules command overview has this guidance and more. So the command is called date diff. If we go down to the date diff command, you can see that we have a lot of different parameters here, including DS name holidays. This is data source named holidays. So if you use this parameter, you can exclude holidays that you specify. So this is a really cool feature. We're not doing that in this case. We don't have any specific holidays. We work around the globe. We are official holiday agnostic, but you could definitely do that. Great question. Thanks for asking it. Let's see here. We've got a few more questions. I want to just get back to my question list. If I can figure out how to do that. Excuse me. Okay, so Chris, that answers your question, hopefully. And then Marlon has another question. You guys are going back to back here. What are the advantages of the form library over a list form? The advantages are that you can use all of the features in InfoPath, and you can use this extension library. Those are the main advantages. Plus, you can use repeating structures. What I tell people is 95% of the forms out there have repeating structures. What's interesting is this form doesn't. So the main advantage for this solution, as you can see, I'm looking at the data source here, and I don't see anything with the little blue repeating sign there. These are all just regular fields. And so this form could definitely be moved to a list form, but you wouldn't get the ability to approve via a link. You wouldn't get the ability to calculate the dates with exclusions, for example, weekends. You could still calculate it, but you couldn't do it with weekend or holiday exclusions. You wouldn't have the ability to update another list to update the available times. So you could still implement the same kind of solution with a list form, but you wouldn't get that. Now, we have, for those of you who are worried about the future of InfoPath, Microsoft is shipping it again in 2016, but if you're worried about using InfoPath because your IT department has said, can't do it, we don't know what the future of InfoPath is, we have this app called Forms Viewer, which will run the same form. So you don't necessarily need to worry about InfoPath being there or not. You can use our Forms Viewer app, which we're calling InfoPath V2. And we have it out there. We have 1.1 coming available. I did a webinar on it last week. We're very excited about Forms Viewer. We'll have more details in the weeks ahead. You can download 1.0 from our Forms Quo sister site today. So that's an option for you if you're worried about using form libraries. Okay, so then here's another question. We use ADP Time Saver. Can the vacation time be automatically uploaded to a SharePoint list? As long as you can get that vacation time in an Excel format. In fact, Prachi, do you want to show them how you did that?
You mean the Excel sheet, the team info Excel sheet?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where I've imported the team info. So
you need to share your screen again. Sorry, there might be a delay. There we go.
Can you see it now?
Wait a minute. I could for a second. Can you try it again?
Okay.
If I need to make you a presenter again, let me. You are a presenter, so you should have the ability.
Yeah, I think it's taking some time to show my screen. Can you see it now?
Not yet. Let's just wait until it shows up here.
Okay.
There we go. Now I see it.
Okay. So what I did here is it's still opening. Give me some time. Okay. So I entered the employee information on this Excel sheet, and I selected, so all the steps how to import the Excel sheet and what data to add is already present in the document and in the webinar package that we'll be getting after this demo. So if I go back, so what I did was I imported that Excel sheet and into a list, and all the information got updated over here. And when and there are rules in the form that extract data from the team info data source. So if I open the form over here, okay, so in the data connections, you will see that we have a team info data connection, and it retrieves data. So what it does is, when a leave request form is open, that list gives the data to this form, and whoever is the user with the credentials, whoever is entered their credentials to open the O365 site, the leave request form gets updated, and with their information, their manager information and the HR and their PTORCUs and the balance. So this Excel sheet does that. You can also create a team info list on the SharePoint side by yourself. You need not import an Excel sheet over there, but still it will use the team info rules. So for this, you need to change the XML mapping. So there's a to give the same grid as the team info on your site. So if I open it with Notepad, what you need to do is to change the grid right there, and then to change the URL in the end to point to your leave request site where you want to publish your leave request form. So this is how the team info form works. There are also many rules that extract the team info information and then send it to the leave request form to do the same. So you can either use an Excel spreadsheet with all your employee information, or you can create a new list on the Sharepoint O365 site to do the same. Any other questions?
Thanks, Prachi. Yeah, we have a lot of questions here. So I've just been responding to some of you, so you should be able to see my response there. But yeah, Marlon's actually got a great comment. With that calendar view, you can make each different leave type, different color, to make the calendar more colorful. That's something we didn't do, but it's a great idea. And I think that if you're going to use this solution, you should definitely create a calendar view on top of it with colors for the different kinds of leave. You know, if you have a leave type that is PTO, you know, vacation, then you show that in blue. If you have the leave type that they were abducted by aliens, you show that in purple, something to show the difference, you know, in terms of the leave. Let's see, then we have a couple more questions. Does the ability to approve a link require key rules? Donald, thank you, Donald. It's great to see you here. Yes, that requires get input parameters. Now, you could still do it. Well, actually, you couldn't. But you could still, if there was only one request for that person, what you could do is you could query on open and basically match that person. But you wouldn't know if they've approved it or not because you won't know what link they have. So yeah, you need to get input parameters to use those links correctly. And then Catherine has a question. Catherine, thank you for your question. Your users don't need info path for the form. Correct. It's just the browser. So the browser, smartphones, I can approve one via my phone by clicking on the link. And if they have a browser, Safari, Mozilla, Chrome, Firefox, whatever, it'll work just fine. In addition, if you don't have SharePoint Enterprise, if you have SharePoint Foundation, then you could use Forms Viewer on top of it. There's a little bit more configuration required to install the app pointing at the library. You're still going to need to use InfoPath Designer to create the form or to deploy it, but we can show you how to do that. But yeah, the users don't need to have the InfoPath filler, nor do they need to have SharePoint Enterprise if you use Forms Viewer. Last question then from Marlon again, can you pull info from SQL database and have it imported on a schedule? Yes, that's a great idea for scalability, and we have shown in the past how to query data from SQL, both from SharePoint 2013 and 365. Very easy to do. We have a web service that makes it simple, and we have a lot of people using that web service. So great, thanks for all the questions. This has been an exciting webinar for us. We're committed to doing more of these simple solution webinars, and look forward to having you here next week. And I want to thank Prachi once again. Way to go, Prachi, your first webinar.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
And we look forward to having everyone back here next week. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.